coming up on this episode of the Spiro podcast.
So you can look at your P&L for this month and review it to last month. Or you can look at it this month a year ago. So maybe May 24 versus May 23 to see the health of your business. And when you do this, you can truly begin to anticipate what your business is going to do. And anticipating what your business can do is a key to understanding the health of your business. And is it time to scale back, or is it time to put your foot on the gas pedal and grow?
Welcome to the Spiro podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. With your hosts, Todd Kivimaki and Craig Magro.
Hello and welcome to the Spiro podcast. Spiro is a software platform to help you manage and grow your real estate media business. My name is Todd Kivimaki. I am one of the hosts and owners and founders of Spiro, and I am just by myself today. So this is a little bit different. You guys are probably all thinking, wait a minute, this is a different voice to begin. Now, Craig normally does this, and he is the better part of this podcast. So if this is your first time joining, sorry you don't get Craig today, but Craig is on a much needed and well-deserved vacation. So you're getting me today, and I'm excited to be on here with you today. Got some exciting topics to talk about, something that's very relevant to your business. Might not be the most fun to do, but I'm going to give you some tips on how we do it at our business and how I manage the companies with this process. So first off, I'd like to start off with a few Spiro updates. So inside of Spiro, you will see all of these updates live and launched. So I'm going to go through a quick list here. Give me a minute on the clock and I'll let you know what's new. The Merge Fleet, which is our logic-based video editor, now supports vertical video. So if you are not offering video, you're like, hey, I don't know how to shoot it or how to edit it, we've got you covered. We have a free training course. The Merge Fleet inside of Spiro will edit for you. If you're not a Spiro user, you don't have to use the Merge Fleet. You can sign up for a free Spiro account and you can click Merge Fleet and you can process inside of Spiro just your videos, and then you can deliver those some other method if you would like. Of course, Spiro will streamline it for you, but it is an option. You don't have to be a Spiro user of your jobs to use the Merge Fleet. We've revamped invoices. So now you have a couple of custom boxes where you can put a memo, your tax ID, whatever needs to be on there to keep you legal. It's all different depending where you're at in the world, but that is on there. Multi-time zones are now much more supported in there. We did a full launch to translations. So if you are in a different country and your clients are speaking a different native language, Spiro can now translate for you. So German, Spanish, French, and Danish, all inside of Spiro. So excited about that for our international users. We put your logo on the tracking page, put a few more currencies in there. You guys are giving us great suggestions, and we really appreciate that. We have started a new board where you can actually put your suggestions, and you can also upvote other users' suggestions. So if you just want to visit spiromedia.featurebase.app, you can find that there. Also, I'm going to email this out in a newsletter, but one more time, spiromedia.featurebase.app. You will get our Spiro user board. Feel free to post something there, see what other people are suggesting. And if you see something you like, you can upvote another as well. So we wanted to add that on there to be more transparent about what we're working on in the meantime. Cool. Moving forward, a few more Spiro updates I'd like to let you know about. When you rearrange images and your client downloads them, we now add a sequence number on them so that they are in the order that has been rearranged. So that was a much requested update. Happy to do that for you guys. Also, if you want to disable the sign-in page on the order page, had a few of you wanted to do that. You can turn that sign-in pop-up off. They would just click in the upper right-hand corner. We have an enhanced email white labeling and domain white labeling. We've improved the iPhone download page and also condensed the invoices just a little bit more. Just a few more. This was a much requested rich previews on the property website. So if your clients are pasting your property website onto social media, it will now put a preview image for them. So I'm going over my minute. I'm going to stop there. I have a few more here. They all hit the newsletter. I'll let you read those yourself. If you're not on the newsletter, you can sign up, visit spiro.media to find out more. All right. Well, we hope that you guys are all having a great busy season. At our real estate media company, which is called Wow Video Tours, we are having a very exciting year. Firstly, it is our 20th year in business. Wow. When I think over that 20 years I'm so blessed to be able to do this for 20 years. And when I started this 20 years ago, I could have never imagined that we would shoot 12, 15,000 shoots a year. And I'd have the staff and the team that I have. And so if you are out there, you're thinking, how am I going to get this started? You can do it. You really can. It just takes some positive thought. It takes strategic thought, but it also takes a mentor or two along the way. Hopefully we can bump you and push you in the right direction. If you have questions along your journey, we answer those for you. You can feel free to reach out to me, hello@spiro.media. Let me know what questions you have. If we don't know the answer, then we're going to find an expert that we can bring onto the podcast to share that. Also, if you are on the other side of that coin and you have had some success in your business and you've grown your business and you want to start giving back, it feels good to give back. If you want to start giving back and if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, feel free to email me as well, hello@spiro.media, and let me know a little bit about your story, and then we can look to have you on to share kind of some unique things that you've done to help grow. Great. Now, transitioning into our main topic today. Now, this is one that is vital to your business. And unfortunately, this is one that I find a lot of times gets pushed down the priority list. At Wow, our media company, typically what's urgent today, the shoots, availability, an unhappy client, that pushes to the top of our priority list. And rightfully so, sometimes, I say that with a little asterisk, our number one core value at Wow is clients are our number one priority. So we try to align all of our staff to use that when they are troubleshooting, when they're answering the phone, answering an email, to remember that as a company, we want our clients to feel like they are our only client, our best client. They are our number one priority. So when you have a core value like that, it can become pretty heavy because you strive very, very hard to make everyone happy. And saying that, you also begin to set yourself up for a little bit of failure. I had a coach tell me once, because I'm a people pleaser by nature, saying yes to everyone is actually saying no to someone or to many. So sometimes you just have to say no. And then you can say it in a polite way. You can say, hey, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Or I'm sorry, maybe another photographer can help you out better. That's a difficult conversation to have. But sometimes it's necessary to say no so that you can really prioritize what is important to work on and grow your business. So today we're going to talk about your bookkeeping. I know. How many of you just turned me off? Right? I know you're like, oh, come on, Todd. You just set it up to be this vital thing. Gave us this spiel. We're 7-8 minutes into the podcast now, and you're telling me we're talking about bookkeeping? Yes, we're talking about bookkeeping today. Why? Because it is vital to your company. Why did you start a business in the first place? Okay, think about it. Why? I'm going to give you some time. We're going to interact today. Why did you start a business in the first place? Maybe some of you didn't want to work for a boss you didn't like. Maybe some of you wanted to build something that you owned. Maybe some of you wanted to wake up and be invigorated and enjoy what you do every day. Maybe some of you, it's just a goal. Maybe your parents, maybe your aunt or uncle owned a business and you have that entrepreneurial spirit. Maybe for some of you, and I'd say a lot would reduce down to this reason, is that you wanted to take control of your future. And some of that depends on financial freedom, right? You know, how many of you out there listening right now, you might be on the way to your next shoot. This might be, some other time. You might be exercising right now. I don't know how, I don't know how motivated I am if you're listening to me when you exercise. I don't know why I thought of that. Maybe nobody listens to me when they exercise. So if you listen to music, you might be a little more productive with exercising. Sorry, I'm cracking myself up, y'all, today. This is typically the point in the podcast where Craig saves me, where my rambling stops and he saves me and he says something very intelligent. But I don't have him today. So, okay, let me reset here for you all. So, how many of you out there listening right now know your finances? You might feel busy, and it's busy season, but does that correlate to the fact that you're financially good, or do you not know? Do you know what you're spending? How many of you out there, you might not be as busy, but maybe you're more financially sound than last year? You know, it was interesting. I'll give you a quick example of that inverse relationship where typically when we're busy, at least for me, when I'm busy, I feel like financially that's always going to correlate. It doesn't. If you're super busy right now and you're not careful with your expenses, you're not knowing what you spend, you're not careful with your invoicing, you don't know if you've collected, then being busy is not related to, in this case, being financially good and stable. So I did a metrics session. Eli Jones and I did about a month ago. And if you want to watch the replay, you can find it on his YouTube channel at It's Eli Jones on YouTube, and just click the lives. And one thing that our largest client, who has turned in somewhat of a mentor of mine, said to me once, I told him something about photo or video, and I can't remember what it was, but he said to me, Todd, is that what you think, or is that what you know? So I think I'm busy. I feel busy. I think I'm financially responsible, but is that really what you know? So that's why I would argue with you that knowing your finances is extremely important. Okay, let me ask you a question. Who is the CFO of your company? So the chief financial officer, who is the CFO of your company? I would say for probably 99 or 100% of our listeners, that person is you. Okay, I don't know that any of us have a business big enough to have a CFO position. We did at WOW a year or two ago, and we realized we just didn't need a CFO position. We brought that back in. I took on a lot of that responsibility along with the leaders of the company. So if you don't have a CFO at your company, you are responsible for all the finances of what's happening. Now, maybe some of you have a bookkeeper. Maybe some of you have a relative or a family member that helps out. But I would still argue that it is extremely important for you to know these numbers. So I sit in a coaching call once a week, and by a coach, his name's Austin Chevron. He was a realtor and he coaches other realtors. If you want to look him up, Chevron has an I in it, Cheviron. So I sit in weekly and he coaches. And he asked this week, what is required for you to be the CFO? So I'll ask you that question. I'm going to reuse Austin's question. What is required for you to be the CFO of your company? What comes to mind? Okay, how many of you are thinking knowing your finances, knowing QuickBooks, FreshBooks, whatever you use, reconciling the bank account? Okay, I would say no. That's not the correct answer. Maybe skills needed, but what's required? So the number one requirement to be the CFO of your company is time. You have to spend time in your bookkeeping. How many of you out there listening time block on your calendar and you set a reoccurring calendar event to work on your financials? I don't do this. We do this once a month. So by the 7th of the month, we need to have all of our expenses categorized inside of our bookkeeping software. And we'll go into software here in a little bit. I'll tell you exactly what we use and the processes. But inside of your bookkeeping software, inside of our bookkeeping software, the only thing that I previously had set on my calendar was I need to have my expenses and my team's expenses categorized. And I'm going to add more time to my calendar to weekly review those expenses and my finances. And I would suggest that you do the same. Now, one of the beautiful things is we don't need a whole lot of time once you have a good process. We don't have that large of businesses, okay? Even at WOW, when we're doing 12, 15,000 jobs a year and a few million in revenue, there's not that many. It's not overwhelming. Between the leaders and myself, we can handle it. And actually working in it gives you a better pulse on your business. So you've got to find some time to do your finances. It's the number one requirement to be the CFO, which you all are, of your company. Okay, so once you have some time blocked aside, potentially this is morning time. That's what Austin suggested. Just block out a little bit of time in the morning, once a week, maybe twice a week. And our morning brains are typically our stronger and more clear brains. And you don't need a lot of time on it. Maybe an hour a week, 2 30-minute blocks to know what's going on. Block out that time, put it on your calendar. And then you're saying, hey, Todd, what do I do? So I'm going to tell you what we do and how I manage the companies that we own with finances. So we have a subscription to QuickBooks, and we've used a few of them. We've used QuickBooks. I've been in FreshBooks, and also we actively used Xero for many years at WOW as well. We switched from Xero to QuickBooks, and this podcast is not sponsored. I'm not getting anything by saying one of these names. I'm just telling you what we use. We pay for it and why we made the change. We found that Xero is more geared towards non-US users. So some of the financing practices and some of the logic in there is just more geared towards some international practices. And it just felt a little bit not aligned with what we wanted in the US, especially the P&L and the way some of the things structurally were set up. So we used Xero for many years. And we, this year, the beginning of the year, just transitioned into QuickBooks, the online version. And QuickBooks Online is a subscription-based model. I'll let you check it out. You probably need the lowest subscription. We'll get into payroll. I see some of you asking payroll questions. I'll give you our opinion on payroll here in a minute. But regardless if you use QuickBooks, FreshBooks, Xero, you need a budget. There's many others out there. You need to find a software system that will allow you to sync in all of your bank and credit card feeds. So inside of that, what I mean by that is once you set up an online system, so I'll use QuickBooks for example. Once we set up QuickBooks at the beginning of the year, the first thing I did is I went in and I added any bank or credit card that we would have a business expense on. Okay, so I added our 4 or 5 bank accounts. I added all of the credit cards, my credit cards, the team's credit cards, the sales team's credit cards, anything that will have a business expense on it. Okay, so why am I doing that? Well, if you want to maximize your taxes and optimize for taxes, you need to make sure that anything that you charge for your business gets categorized and sent to your CPA at the end of the year before you do taxes. So one thing that I struggled with many years is when I started WOW, there was no difference between Todd and WOW. And it was very small. I was making just a little bit of money with real estate media. And there was no division between my personal expenses and my business expenses. And I very quickly changed this because it got to be very difficult to remember what I charged on my personal card that was actually a business expense. Okay, so if you're out coffee with a client and you charge that on your personal card and say it's $20 and you think, oh, what's $20? It's just $20. Well, if you're not writing off that $20, then you're not saving the tax on that amount. And if you're saying, hey, it's only $20, like what's the tax on it? It's going to add up. Maybe one $20 transaction is not going to sink you. But if you do that every day, 52 weeks out of the year, 10, 20 years in business, that is going to add up to be a ton of money that you did not write off on your taxes. And that is rightfully so a business expense. So what I would encourage you to do is at this point right now, no matter how big or small you are, you should have personal credit cards and bank accounts, and you should have business credit cards and bank accounts. I do this. I keep them all in my wallet. I have my personal credit cards. I have my WOW credit cards. I have my Spiro credit cards. Okay. Because those are all separate entities that I need to sort the expenses. So we're syncing all of those credit cards and bank feeds into QuickBooks so that you actually know everything you're spending. You know, y'all, it's easy to spend money in the world today. Hey, it's so, right? I mean, you take the credit card, you tap it on the thing, and literally a half a second later, it's boom, it's done. You know, it's not like back in the day, and I don't know how many of you, I'm dating myself here, but it's not like you have to stand there and write a check to somebody. You know, it'd take 2 minutes to write a check. You'd fill it out, you'd sign it, you'd have a carbon copy, you'd hand it over to the person at the register. You know, when we took a little bit more time writing a check and it wasn't so easy to spend money, you remember a little bit more and you have your credit, you have your checkbook transaction. Well, we don't do that anymore. No matter where we go, our phone, our credit card, we tap it and we've just spent money. So you need to know all the money you're spending. A proper CFO would do that. And remember, that CFO is you. So inside of QuickBooks, we sync all of our bank feeds. It's super easy to do. Just sign into the account and then you hit sync. And then all of those come in as what they call transactions. So those are all either money you've spent or that's money you've earned. And you need to begin to categorize these transactions. So you're going to have things related to car expenses, phone, internet, equipment. You're going to have supplies and meals, entertainment. You're going to have all of these different categories and then some. And categorizing those transactions under the correct category is going to be important. Okay, so we do this at WOW. We do this monthly right now, and I'm going to transition into doing this weekly. So we go in and we hit sync. All of the new transactions come in every time we've tapped a credit card and we've spent money, it comes in. It tells you the vendor and it tells you the amount. Now, we have a process at our company where we save all the receipts. Okay, so I'm holding up some here. Now, I save some paper receipts. The sales team, we have, there's an app involved where you can scan. You can take a picture of a receipt and it will go right back into QuickBooks. Now, you need to be on a higher subscription to have that app. You don't really need it. The main thing is that you need, I would at least snap a picture of your receipt, because when you think you're going to remember it, so you're at Starbucks, you're at the grocery store, you're quickly grabbing a box of cookies to take by a real estate office, and you think, oh, I'm going to remember what this transaction's for. You won't. You just simply won't. And then you're going to get back into QuickBooks and you're going to look at that thing and you're going to be like, what did I spend this $27 on? Okay. So save those receipts, find a way, snap them. The app works great. Or just you can keep a stack of receipts. And legally, now ask your accountant on this, we save receipts as well, copies of receipts, so that if we were ever to be audited, we could go back and we could show that that was a receipt. So get all those transactions in and figure out what you've spent. Okay, that's super important. Now, the next question that I get a lot of times is, and this is a Spiro question, but this is a question regardless of what system you're in or if you're not in a system. Will Spiro sync with QuickBooks? And there's two answers. The first one is yes, you have to do it through a webhook where you manually set it up, send a zap over, and it will create an invoice in QuickBooks. However, I will tell you that you do not need to do that. Spiro will manage all of your invoices, and all of the collection of the invoices is inside of Spiro. We don't need to create duplicate invoices inside of QuickBooks to mark those as paid and unpaid. Okay, Spiro will do all that for you. There is no reason to create duplicate invoices. In fact, I sat with my accountant this week on Monday, and it's been about a year since we talked. And I do like to sit with my accountant, my attorney. I like to sit with these individuals just to give them an idea as to what's happening in my business and see if there's any gaps that I don't know about. And I asked Katie, I said, hey, Katie, this is the way the process works. Everything's managed inside of Spiro. Do you want me to create duplicates inside of QuickBooks? And she immediately said, no. No reason to do that. We do not need to do that. That's only going to lead to confusion and duplicate work that's not needed. Okay. So you're probably asking me now, well, Todd, what about my income? How do I get my income into QuickBooks from Spiro? And my answer is from your bank feed. So all of your payments are taken inside of Spiro through your Stripe, Square, Authorize.net, through your credit card processor. Then from your credit card processor, there's distributions from that account to your bank account. Okay, so if you go to your bank account, you'll log in and you'll see that income coming in, and it will be a lump amount. It'll be from many invoices. That right there serves the purpose of getting all of your income into QuickBooks. Okay, you don't need the individual invoices. That's what Spiro does for you. If you want to run any type of report, it's in Spiro. If you want to see what invoices haven't been paid, it's in Spiro. We just launched a couple months ago a beautiful metrics dashboard. Do you want to know what your revenue is this month or this year? It's in Spiro. Average order value, unique clients, number of new clients, cash collected, number of jobs. That is all inside of Spiro. There is no reason to do that in QuickBooks. The main thing that you need out of QuickBooks is you need to categorize your transactions so you can optimize your taxes. And part of that to get your taxes is to be able to build a P&L and see a balance sheet. That will take your income and your expenses. That's all you need. It's actually quite simple once you do it a few times. Okay, so all of your income goes from Stripe into your bank account, and then your bank account is connected to QuickBooks. Hit the sync button, that comes in, and that is categorized as your revenue. So now we have our revenue in, That's the top line of your P&L. P&L stands for your profit and loss. It's a financial statement that's incredibly important that is structured in a way where you have your top line revenue. From there, then, you need to categorize all of your cost of goods, or COGS, C-O-G-S, cost of goods sold. In our business and real estate media, your cost of goods is your cost of your photographers. And if you're your only photographer, I would suggest that you pay yourself as a photographer. Inside of Spiro, set your photographer payout. It can track it all for you. What that's going to do is, as you grow, you will be able to see if you're financially able to hire more photographers. So treat yourself just like someone you're going to hire and put those fees into your cost of goods. Right? So your cost of goods is going to be your photographers. It's going to be all of your editing. Okay. So any cost related to the goods or the service that you've delivered, your editing, it's going to be your Spiro fees. Okay. Any other system that you have that's related strictly to the cost of goods. We have a few others. We have some small ones. We deliver a USB case, so our clients can order USBs with a beautiful case design, and we send it out to them. They give it as a closing gift. So we have the expenses of the USB drives, the cases, the USB cases, and then some of the shipping in the cost of goods. So we put that in our cost of goods. And after you have your top line revenue minus your cost of goods, you get a number, you subtract those two, and that's called your gross profit. Okay, not your net profit. This is your gross profit. So from there, and if I've lost you for like, hey, Todd, I don't know anything about this. The cool thing is that inside of QuickBooks, it's going to do this for you. Just make sure that you categorize editor expenses, photographer expenses into be cost of goods, and it will do this automatically for you. That's the beautiful thing about using a system like QuickBooks, Xero, FreshBooks, Freshdesk. Freshdesk is ticketing, FreshBooks. But that's the beauty of using a system. Okay, now all of your other expenses are still categorized. These are things like your software descriptions, Adobe, maybe a CRM, anything else that you have, music, editing libraries, things like that. That is all categorized in there. Now, one thing, here's a tip I want to give you is when you are categorizing those, go ahead and look at what might be wasteful. You know, how many subscriptions do we have nowadays? We have 1 million of them. Okay. I can't tell you how many times I hit our bank account and I would see the subscription and I'd like, wait a minute, do we even use this anymore? You know, that's $30, $50, $100 a month of subscriptions that are just sitting out there. So look for those subscriptions. And if you don't need them, this is a great time to be top of mind because you see it. Go to that website and cancel that thing. All right. So you want to optimize your spending. Okay. And another reason why I suggest that you do this more frequently is because nobody wants to do it once every 6 months and then realize you just paid $100 a month for a subscription that you don't even use. That's $600 down the drain. If you do it monthly or weekly, you can cancel that thing immediately. All right. So hang on with me. We're going to bring it all home here, y'all. And then I'm going to send you on to your next shoot and we will be done for this week. Okay. So top line revenue minus your cost of goods, that gives you your gross profit minus all of your other expenses. These are operating expenses. This could be called overhead. We refer to it as overhead inside of our company. It's everything else related to run your business that is not your cost of the shoot, cost of the services. Okay. And then you subtract those two numbers and you get your net profit. That's after everybody's been paid. And your net profit is what you actually put in your pocket. Okay, so that is all in there. That's the main breakup of your P&L. Now, once you have your P&L, the beautiful thing is you can review this on a month-to-month, year-to-year level. So you can look at your P&L for this month and review it to last month. Or you can look at it this month a year ago. So maybe May 24 versus May 23 to see the health of your business. And when you do this, you can truly begin to anticipate what your business is going to do. And anticipating what your business can do is a key to understanding the health of your business. And is it time to scale back? Or is it time to put your foot on the gas pedal and grow? So I know I threw a lot at you today. Let's just recap real quick. The first thing, you're going to have to dedicate some time to do your finances. Put it on your calendar, time block. You guys hear me say this all the time. Time block on your calendar. Find the time. You are your company's CFO. Find that time. Get into a system. There's free ones out there as well. Get into a system. We use QuickBooks. Sync your bank feeds. Sync your credit cards. Categorize your transactions. Separate your cost of goods versus your overhead. Check all those transactions. See if there's anything hanging in there that you can cancel to save money. Build your P&L and you'll truly know the health of your business. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can get us at hello@spiro.media. I know this is just one more thing I'm throwing at you in busy season, but I can tell you this is incredibly important. This is a reason why you started your business in the first place, financial freedom. And if you don't know your finances, you might be laying your head down at night with that little sinking suspicion that you don't know if everything's going okay. How am I doing? What a great way to not what you think, but what you know. Know the health of your business. Just devote an hour a week to your finances. If you have questions along the way, feel free to reach out to us. You can get us again, hello@spiro.media. Hey, thanks for tuning in this week. It was great to spend some time with you. Thanks for spending time with us. We love to hear from you. If you have questions or suggestions, feel free. Reach us at hello@spiro.media. If you want to find out more about Spiro software, it's what we run. We've built it for 20 years now. It can streamline your business. You can sign up for a free account at spiro.media. Hey, everyone, just a reminder to be thankful for all of your blessings and take time to take a breath. Thanks, and have a great week.
Thank you for joining us for the Spiro Podcast, Managing Your Real Estate Photography and Videography Business. This is a production of Spiro and Wow Video Tours. You can find out more about Spiro's real estate media business management software at our website, spiro.media.